Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Guy channel. I'm Guy Wozniak, and today we're playing another round of Comic Book Jeopardy. Now, this is the second episode of Comic Book Jeopardy on the channel, and if you didn't see episode number 1, well, here's how it works. It's pretty simple. I'll ask you a series of 30 questions plus a final Jeopardy question. They will be across 6 different categories and, of course, in escalating difficulty. Now, if you want to, go ahead and keep score, adding up your points as you get questions right, but don't worry about subtracting points for wrong answers. I'm not going to tell anyone. Now, after I ask a question, there will be a brief 4 to 5 second pause, and then I'll give the answer. Now, if you need more time, feel free to pause the video manually, but if it seems like this pause takes a little too long, I'd recommend setting the video playback speed to something a little bit faster in the YouTube player. It does seem like I can't please everyone with the amount of delay between the questions and the answers. Some people, they want it to go faster, while others want more time. So this is hopefully a happy compromise. Now, most important of all, make sure that you leave your total score down in the comments because I love seeing who gets the highest scores. Now, with that said, let's go over today's categories. Our first category is Superhero 101. It's a category where I will give you some random details about a hero, and you have to tell me who it's about. Category 2 is Panel to Screen, and in this category, we will talk all about comic book movies and TV shows. The third category is Legendary Teams, a series of 5 questions about some of the best superhero teams of all time. Category 4 is Wolverine, a category dedicated entirely to the one who's the best there is at what he does, but what he does isn't very nice. Category number 5 is Rogues Gallery, and like Superhero 101, in this category I'll give you some details about a villain, and you have to tell me who we're talking about. Finally, category number 6 is Comics in Gaming, and it's a category dedicated to all of our favorite comic book characters and IPs as they have appeared in the digital realm of video games. So let's jump into it and get started. Superhero 101 for 200. This hero was bitten by a radioactive spider and later became the hero known as Spider-Man, but his real name was this. Yeah, of course. Who is Peter Parker? Look, I know that this is a really easy one, but the 200-point round is supposed to be a really easy round. The difficulty will escalate. Hopefully you guys like these cupcakes, though. Panel to Screen for 200. In this 1989 blockbuster directed by Tim Burton, the film won an Oscar for Best Art Direction. What is Batman? Of course, Tim Burton's Batman from 1989 starring Michael Keaton. Probably still my favorite Batman movie, honestly. I don't think they've topped that one, and it's been the better part of going on, almost 40 years. Wow. Legendary Teams for 200. Before being known as its new name, X-Force, this team and the title of the comic book series that they appeared in was this. Yeah, what is the New Mutants? Fantastic series of comics back in the 80s and 90s. Chris Claremont, a fan favorite in my opinion. Yep, before X-Force, they were the New Mutants. Now we have Wolverine for 200. Having gone by names such as Logan, Weapon X, and even James, Wolverine sometimes went by this nickname, which was also a reference to the eyewear he sometimes wore. Yeah, of course, he was known as Patch because he wore an eye patch sometimes. Next up, we have Rogues Gallery for 200. Speaking of Wolverine, he fought many villains over the years, but this one's real name is Victor Creed, and he's commonly known by what other name? Who is Sabretooth? And finally, the last question in the 200-point round, Comics and Gaming for 200. Spider-Man appeared as a playable character in this wildly popular sports game developed by Neversoft and released in the year 2000. What is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2? Yeah, I don't know if you guys were there for the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, or the original Tony Hawk for that matter. Those games were amazingly good, fun games, especially for the era. Now let's jump over into the 400-point round where the questions might start getting a little bit harder. We'll go Superhero 101 for 400. Ghost Rider was originally the alter ego of Johnny Blaze, but this person, and my favorite version, became the spirit of vengeance years later when his sister Barbara was shot after coming in between a gang rivalry in a cemetery. Who is Danny Ketch? Yeah, the famous Danny Ketch series of Ghost Riders. A little bit contentious. Some people really loved it, like me. Some people not so much. They are Johnny Blaze fans. I gotta say, Danny Ketch is my Ghost Rider. Next up, we have Panel to Screen for 400. The Punisher has been played by the likes of Thomas Jane and John Bernthal, amongst others. But this actor, known for playing characters such as He-Man and Ivan Drago, played the character first. Who is Dolph Lundgren? Yeah, Dolph Lundgren was the Punisher before those guys. If you haven't seen that old Punisher movie, I recommend checking it out. It's pretty bad, but it's one of those things you just gotta see. Next up, Legendary Teams for 400. This Canadian superhero team originally consisted of a number of members, including the likes of Guardian, North Star, and Sasquatch. Later, they added new members, including the diminutive fan favorite Puck. What is Alpha Flight? And that one's for Matt. He is a big Alpha Flight fan. Next up, we have Wolverine for 400. Wolverine and the X-Men's Cyclops were often involved in a complicated love triangle with this Omega level telepathic mutant and X-Men member. Who is Jean Grey, or of course we would accept Marvel Girl, or the Phoenix, or the Dark Phoenix, or any other name that she went by. You know, if it's Jean Grey, give yourself the points. Rogues Gallery for 400. Portrayed by legendary actors such as Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger in the live-action movies, Batman's greatest villain, the Joker, is famously voiced by this actor in the 1992's Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, it's of course Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. Comics and Gaming for 400. This comic book inspired video game on the Nintendo Entertainment System came out in 1989 and was famously frustrating in no small part thanks to an extremely difficult underwater level, short time limits, and a lack of extra lives. Yeah, what is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video game? That game was brutal. Moving on, we're into the 600-point round of questions with Superhero 101. This lesser-known Avenger has some distinct visual features, including a tail, and for having the ability to talk to a certain type of animal, one in particular named Tippy Toe. Who is Squirrel Girl? Panel to Screen for 600. First appearing in a 1977 comic called 2000 AD, this character has also appeared in two films, once in 1995 and then again in 2012. Who is Judge Dredd? And yeah. Now I gotta say, it's a real shame they haven't made a follow-up to the 2012 Dredd film because Judge Dredd deserves to be seen again on the big screen. Legendary Teams for 600. The main characters of the Fantastic Four changed briefly in a short story arc written by Walt Simonson in 1990 from issues 347 to 349 of the comic book series. The group was replaced with these four heroes over that time. Well, if you didn't see this little story arc, it was a fun one. The Fantastic Four was replaced by the Hulk, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and of course, Spider-Man. I definitely suggest checking it out. Wolverine for 600. This artist illustrated the 1982 Wolverine 4-issue miniseries, as well as other amazing titles, including Batman: The Dark Knight Returns and Sin City. Yeah, of course, who is Frank Miller? Rogues Gallery for 600. This villain has been known by many names, including Magnus, Max Eisenhart, and Eric Lenshier. Who is Magneto? And I gotta be honest with you guys, I didn't know that he was referred to as Max until I started reading the current run of X-Men comic books, and I'm like, why are they calling him Max? I had to look it up. Yeah, apparently that was his real name, and he changed it, or somebody changed it to Eric, and then he went back. Who knew? Comics and gaming for 600. In the PlayStation exclusive Marvel's Spider-Man, this villain plotted to release the Devil's Breath virus in New York City. Who is Mr. Negative, or of course, Martin Lee would also count. I'll take either answer on this one. All right, we're moving on to the 800-point round. Before we jump into those, let me ask you guys to do me a favor. If you're enjoying this, hit the like button, give it a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I really need to grow this channel, and myself and of course, Matt, who joins me on the regular on a lot of our other content, would really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe. Now on to Superhero 101 for 800. Due to a freak accident, Peter Parker gained these new powers, allowing him to fly, along with more strength and the ability to manipulate matter and energy. What are the powers cosmic? Yeah, he got those powers in a weird science experiment in an issue of Spectacular Spider-Man, which I didn't read. Of course, I'm familiar with the powers cosmic, and I remember him having it in other Amazing Spider-Man titles, but originally, yeah, he picked them up in an issue of Spectacular Spider-Man. Now on to panel to screen for 800. This 1986 box office flop had held a PG rating in spite of some questionable scenes depicting a topless anthropomorphic animal and other bizarre, somewhat sexualized content. Yeah, we're talking about that famous movie, Howard the Duck. And if I'm not mistaken, was that a George Lucas movie? I'm gonna have to look that up in a minute when I'm done with this, because yeah, I thought it was like a really big name director or a producer or somebody attached to that really, really weird, bizarre movie. Still, I kind of like it, and I don't mind watching it from time to time. Legendary teams for 800. This Justice League member possesses many great powers, including a shape-shifting ability giving him complete control over his molecular structure, allowing him to change his form to resemble any person, object, or organism. And yeah, that Justice League member would of course be the Green Martian Manhunter. Next up, Wolverine for 800. Wolverine has mentored a number of younger mutants over the years of being an X-Man, including this one who was an orphan living in a shopping mall prior to meeting Wolverine and the X-Men. Yeah, we're talking about the one, the only, Jubilee. Rogues Gallery for 800. The Batman villain Ra's al Ghul's name translates to this in English. What is the demon's head? And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if that's like in reality or in some made up language in the comic books, but yeah, I had to look that up to find out. I didn't know what his name actually meant. Comics and Gaming for 800. This action RPG was released in 2013, and it let you play one of more than 100 different Marvel characters before it was unfortunately shut down in 2017. The one we're looking for here is Marvel Heroes, or it went to a name change before shutting down, and it was known as Marvel Heroes Omega. We'll take either one of those, and I gotta say, that was like one of an all-time favorite game for me. It was a very similar type of game to Diablo, only you ran around as pretty much any Marvel hero you could think of. It was phenomenal, and I still miss playing it to this day, even though it's been the better part of 7 or 8 years. Superhero 101 for 1,000. First appearing in comics in 1991, writer Tom DeFalco and artist Mike Manley introduced us to this superhero, whose real name was Christopher Powell. Who is Darkhawk? Well, I hope that was a pretty deep cut for you guys. I want these 1,000-point questions to be a little bit more challenging than the rest. And I remember when that comic was new and on the racks. I was probably, I don't know, 12 years old or somewhere in that ballpark. I remember looking up there, seeing Darkhawk #1, and some other really obscure titles like Sleepwalker. It was a weird time in comics with some weird characters for sure. Panel to screen for 1,000 next. In the movie Doctor Strange, This brand of watch gets damaged in the car accident. It's a watch that was gifted to Stephen by Christine, a symbol of the importance of their time together. Well, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I have a second, or I guess I should say this is my second channel. My main channel, or my original channel, is all about wristwatch reviews. So I had to throw a watch question in here if I could. This seemed like a good opportunity. The answer is it was a JLC or a Jaeger LeCoultre. Next up, legendary teams for 1000. This super team included members such as Mr. Immortal, Big Bertha, Doorman, Flatman, and many others. I'm guessing a lot of you don't remember the Great Lakes Avengers. I really don't remember them. But again, we're going for some more deep cuts and challenging questions here. So yeah, hopefully that one stumped some of you guys. Next, we got Wolverine for 1000. This scientist was responsible for binding adamantium to Wolverine's skeleton in the Weapon X program. Now, some of you are going to guess Stryker because, well, from the X-Men movies, that was the villain that was sort of responsible for Wolverine and his adamantium. But in the Marvel Comics Presents series, it was actually Dr. Cornelius. Rogues Gallery for 1000. The villain Arcade is infamous for trapping heroes in this deadly amusement park. Well, that would be Murder World. And for the last 1,000 point question, in Comics and Gaming for 1000, in this 2006 video game released on PS2, Xbox, and Xbox 360, heroes of the Marvel Universe join forces to defeat Doctor Doom and the Masters of Evil, and foil their plans for global domination. Well, that game was Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and another really, really great game, another action RPG. I guess I'm kind of an RPG fan, as you can tell by some of the games that I like. And yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance is always going to hold a warm place in my heart. That said, it's time for Final Jeopardy, and the category for Final Jeopardy is going to be publishers. Now, total up all of the points that you've earned throughout the previous round, and you can decide how much you want to wager on the Final Jeopardy category of publishers. If you get it right, you double up or, get that many points that you wagered. If you get it wrong, keep your points. I don't mind. But let me know if you got the Final Jeopardy question right and what your total points were, even if you did get it wrong. Now, with that said, here's the question for Final Jeopardy. Before being renamed to DC Comics, the publisher was originally founded under this name in 1934. I don't know if you guys knew this one. I certainly didn't. I thought DC Comics was always known as DC or Detective Comics, but no. Originally, it was known as the National Allied Publications. Yeah, I would have got this one wrong. How many of you guys actually knew that that's what DC Comics was called prior to be calling DC? I certainly didn't. With that said, I'm going to wrap this one up for today and say thanks again for tuning in. And yeah, keep collecting comics, keep watching my videos, and until the next one, bye now.